Hey guys, it's Bigfoot. Today is Wednesday, April 6th, which means I have 2.5 weeks before I go and start my Appalachian Trail through hike on Springer Mountain. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. But I wanted to take a moment to do a little bit of a review on the footwear that I'm wearing on the Appalachian Trail. While I was going through all of my gear and my selections, one of the biggest questions that was lurking with me is what kind of footwear am I going to bring on the AT? Now, one of the things that has deterred me away from many different shoes is the width of my feet. For those of you that have wide feet like myself, there's only very few options with what is accommodating to the comfortability and the widths of our feet. And because of that, the New Balance Fresh Foam Hierros really attracted me. Now, this comes in 3 different widths. It's got your normal width, it's got your 2E, and it's got your 4E. I originally started off with the 4E just because I've really never worn a really wide trail running shoe, and turned out to be wider than I had thought, which was kind of exciting for me because I've never had that much space in the toe box of my previous shoes. So I downgraded, got the 2E. So this is the size 12, the 2Es. The weight of these are, for my 12s, are 13 ounces per shoe, which comes in at 26 ounces, so not too terrible for a weight standpoint. Now, a little bit about the general design of the Hierros. It's a simple design. They come in 3 different colors. I believe this is the orange color, orange gray. There is a blue yellow, and then there's additional color of that. Now, this is a simple design. Starting kind of off at the top here, it's got your tongue with your double lace guided system in here. The laces are waffle laces, so it really helps with keeping your feet tight and taut. The laces, that is, so that there's not a lot of movement from your foot inside the shoe itself, and it stays pretty darn tight. So I like that. Now, the inside cushion is the Ortholite cushion. I thought it was pretty darn comfortable, and the Fresh Foam is all around the midsole. With the Fresh Foam kind of comprised around the entire midsole, it makes the shoe pretty darn soft. It's very flexible, which I thought, from the positive standpoint, made it really comfortable for me. I will say, though, because of how soft it is on the inside, definitely you could feel some of the stones, the rocks, or the sticks that you sometimes would walk over. Now, the traction is pretty darn good. It is kind of your standard multi-directional lug pattern for your ascents, your descents. Kind of what it looks like here. I said that I have about 350 miles on here. The traction and the lug patterns actually have held up pretty darn well. But of my 350 miles, about 275 miles were on the trail itself. The terrain that I experienced was in the Ozark Trail, primarily the Tom Sauk section, so pretty rocky terrain. And I didn't experience probably more than about 40 or 50 miles of wet weather, but I will tell you, the weather I did experience that was wet did a pretty good job with being able to keep the traction. There was, I think, one time where I had a little bit of a slip of a rock. It was a larger rock. It was really wet, and could have also just been as much user error, but don't have as much experience in the wet weather. But I will tell you that with the design, it's got the mesh all over the front of the shoe with the stitch overlays, which makes it very breathable, dries out very fast. So I thought those were great features of the New Balance Fresh Foam Hierro. Now, a few other things about this. Now, I mentioned about a couple things about the flexibility, the softness that might deter people away. Attracted me was the wide, the large toe box. So I told you it comes in 3 different widths. I will tell you, I've never had a comfortable shoe that I've been able to hike in that hasn't been able to or that has been able to give me the comfortability that I need in the front of my shoe. These ones here were just so fantastic. I never had any issues like I've had in the past with having my toes and the front of my feet just so crammed up. So it really made the hike so much more enjoyable, which obviously was super important because of all the miles that I'm going to be doing on the AT, especially in the amount of time. Now, a few things about how these have held up. I mentioned the lug patterns have held up pretty well. For the 350 miles, might even be close to 400 miles I've experienced. To me, pretty minimal wear and tear in the very front of the toe box. So definitely got some nicks and scratches out of the front of the toe box from all the rocks that I've hit, and there was quite a bit of rocks that I did hit. But I will tell you, with the how much intact that it is, I would probably guess I could get at least another 200 to 300 miles out of these easily. They are pretty darn burly. Now, in my left shoe, that was my right shoe, I did notice that the rubber footing that kind of overlays the toe box is starting to come off a little bit on the side. So that's something you could probably just take some super glue, throw it on there, and you'll be good to go. Now, I'm right-handed, kind of right foot dominant, so my left shoe doesn't have as much wear and tear as my right shoe, but you know, they held up really well. You know, you got some stitching that's kind of starting to come off here and there, which, you know, is really, I would guess, really standard with all the miles that I've put on this. Now, the price of the New Balance Hierros retail at $115. Now, what I've noticed, you can find some pretty awesome deals at Amazon depending on the time and the surplus that they have of these. I just bought one more pair of these off of Cedar Trading Post. I think they came in at about $70. It really depends on what width you're getting and size. However, what I did find is very difficult to find this shoe outside of the New Balance site and I think Roadrunner.com that carry the 4E. So if you have a very wide foot and you need to go with the 4E, you might be restricted to just a couple different places that you can actually pick them up. Most of the Amazon sites, the Moose Jaws, they don't carry them larger than the 2E, probably because they don't just sell as much, which means that you're probably going to have to pay closer to the retail price. But I will tell you, if you have wide feet, highly, highly, highly recommend these shoes. Never had more comfortable shoes in my life than these. If you have narrow feet, probably wouldn't recommend these. You'd probably find that it's too much space in the toe box and your foot would probably slide around quite a bit. So anyway, all in all, I absolutely love these shoes. They are kick-ass, burly shoes, simple design. You know, if I changed anything, I would definitely change the color. That's really the only complaint that I really have on these so far, because they've held up so well. And you know, the designs that they do have, the colors are all bright. So there's nothing that's really a neutral color. So if anything, I would change that. You know, one other last thing I've noticed in a lot of my other shoes that I've worn, trail running shoes that is the sides of the shoes where the my foot actually bends when I'm walking typically crack, and they start breaking open, and that's where I get the holes usually on my shoes. And that starts to form, I don't know, somewhere in the 200 to 300 mile range. I don't even see any form of wear and tear in that stress point on the shoe. So I just thought that was just so freaking awesome. So all in all, totally recommend this shoe for those of you out there that have wide feet. If you have narrow feet, you know, you want a little bit more room in your toe box. You know, I've heard that the regular size of these definitely is more accommodating, so I think that's a great feature. So all in all, definitely approve these, and I got about 3 or 4 of these pairs that I'm going to be shipping with me on the trail, and couldn't be happier. So that's kind of wraps up my review. If you have any questions or comments on my Nike, or excuse me, New Balance Fresh Foam Hierros, go ahead and comment below. I'll get back to you. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the trail. I think I'm like 15 or whatever, 17 days out, and so looking forward to my opportunity to do this. So anyway, I'll have a few more videos before I start the trail, but thanks everyone. I really appreciate the support that you've all given me, and I will see you on the trail. And if I don't, you can catch me on YouTube. I'll be uploading my trail videos as I go through my hike. So this is Bigfoot signing off. Happy trails.